Good afternoon. Wanted to say thank you to all of you again. My name is Rob Merritt. I am the president of the Merritt Companies. That includes Merritt Clubs, Merritt Properties, and Merritt Construction Services. Merritt is proud to be a sponsor of MBRG. We really believe that this is the best organization to facilitate change in Annapolis. And that's both in terms of changing some of the legislators, but also changing the way they feel about job creation in Maryland. Basically, we need people that think jobs are a good thing for Maryland. I'm honored today to have the opportunity to introduce Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue. Steve was elected county executive in 2014. Prior to that, he spent 8 years serving in Annapolis as a member of the House of Delegates. I'm sure that was a blast. While he was there, Steve racked up an 89% lifetime rating through MBRG for his pro-business, pro-economy, and pro-jobs voting record. He truly is a businessman, from his MBA that he earned at Harvard to becoming managing director at Alex Brown and Sons and Credit Suisse First Boston, and then founding Mid-States Management Group, which develops and operates restaurants that employ over 1,000 people in this region. That's job creation for Maryland. He serves on numerous nonprofit boards while he continues to lead Anne Arundel County to being one of the strongest counties in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a wonderful event this is. Congratulations to MBRG, 730 people. That is extraordinary. And by the way, welcome all of you to Anne Arundel County, best place to live, work, and start a business in the state of Maryland. Right, Alan? Since taking office, Governor Larry Hogan and Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford have worked tirelessly to bring responsible spending, tax relief, and long-term financial stability to struggling Maryland families and businesses. Governor Hogan's commitment to restoring Maryland's economy and creating jobs is proving successful. Since January 2015, Maryland has seen nearly 100,000 new jobs created, and Governor Hogan's administration has cut tolls, reduced or eliminated innumerable fees, and returned hundreds of millions of dollars to Maryland taxpayers. Yeah, let her rip. In addition to Governor Hogan's economic agenda, he's made record investments in education, transportation, and protecting our Chesapeake Bay. And I want to say, from a personal perspective, how grateful I am to have someone in the State House who's been so good to Anne Arundel County. From much-needed improvements along Maryland Route 175 in the western part of our county, to his record investment in our school system, including the new Crofton High School now underway, to funding enhanced law enforcement in high crime areas, Anne Arundel County has always had a friend in Governor Larry Hogan. Please join me in giving a warm Anne Arundel County welcome to Governor Larry Hogan.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Wow. Somebody's been drinking coffee. Thank you very, very much. I would say it looks like Maryland is open for business. What do you think? Take a look around this room. There's a heck of a crowd for MBRG. I want to thank you very much. It's really great to be here with you, and I want to thank Steve for that very kind introduction. He gave you most of my speech, talked about all the great things, so I'm going to skip ahead. But thank you for the outstanding job that you're doing as my county executive here in Anne Arundel County. He's doing a terrific job. We have a number of other great county executives here with us today, as well as some of our cabinet members and legislators and local elected officials and other distinguished guests, and I want to thank all of them for being here. But I just want to take a moment, a personal privilege, to give a shout out to just one of Maryland's long-time leaders who has done so much for this organization, for our state, and for our nation for so many years. I want to give a big round of applause for my good friend, Ambassador Ellen Sauerbrei. Thank you. And I want to thank MBRG's chairman, Scott Dorsey, who's not here. Rob Merritt, thank you for filling in for Scott. And Dwayne, thank you for the leadership that you provide for this organization. Thank you for not only inviting me again this year, but for all the great work that MBRG does to promote business and to promote economic growth in our state. I want to thank all of you for being here today, all of our sponsors, and each and one of the 735 people that are filling this room to capacity. I do remember coming to MBRG luncheons when we didn't have quite this many, when the previous governor would kind of penalize you if you showed up at a lunch like this. But now everybody can come out in public and say, I'm a businessman, I'm a businesswoman. We create jobs and we're damn proud of it, right? You don't have to hide anymore in the shadows. But thank you for being a part of this great organization. So I guess you know that I've been in this new job for a little over 2 years now. And it seems like it's going pretty well so far. I don't know. But I've spent most of my life in the private sector. This is the very first elective office that I've ever held. And just like many of you, I've been in business. I started and grew several small businesses here in Maryland. I've been a long-time supporter of MBRG, and I understand the importance of the business community. So I wanted to start out today by just saying thank you. Thank you for doing business here in Maryland, and thank you for the critical role that all of you are playing in the incredible economic resurgence that we're experiencing here in Maryland. A little over 2 years ago, I stood on the steps of our historic State House in Annapolis, and I promised to put Maryland on a new path. I promised to create a more competitive and more business-friendly future for our state, to grow our private sector, put more people to work, and turn our economy around. And this doesn't usually happen, apparently, in politics. I don't know, I'm new to this, but we've been doing exactly what we said we were going to do. Can you imagine? As I was taking the oath of office, at that very moment, all of our state highway signs were being changed from one end of the state to the other to say, welcome to Maryland, we're open for business. I think they used to say, what's in your wallet? But that wasn't just a slogan that we put on our highway signs to say that welcome to Maryland, we're open for business. It wasn't just something that we wanted to just talk about doing. It actually defines our entire mission. It's why I ran for governor. For 2 years, our entire team has been completely focused on growing the private sector in Maryland, creating jobs, and turning our economy around. And as a result, Maryland's economy is stronger than it's been in more than a decade. Businesses are returning to and expanding in our state. People are feeling better about investing in Maryland. We had the best year for business in 15 years. We had the best year for job growth in 15 years. It looks like we had the best year for lunches at MBRG in 15 years. I don't know if that's true or not, but in a while. But we've cut our unemployment rate to 4.3%. At one point, it was up to about twice that high in the previous administration. We've gone from losing 100,000 jobs to gaining 100,000 jobs. That's quite a turnaround. And the people in this room have been a big part of that success. I mean, you are the job creators. You are the backbone of our economy. And your success has been Maryland's success. But back in 2014, I decided to run for governor because the state that I grew up in, the state that I started my businesses in, the state that I loved, was in real trouble. We were way off track. We were heading in the wrong direction. Businesses, jobs, and taxpayers were fleeing our state in record numbers. We had lost 8,000 businesses and 100,000 jobs, and our state economy ranked 49th out of 50 states. So as a lifelong Marylander who loved this state, that broke my heart. It also made me angry enough to want to do something crazy by running for governor to try to do something about it. But I ran promising that we were going to do everything in our power to turn our economy around, and we have. We have experienced one of the greatest economic turnarounds of any state in the nation. In just 2 years, Maryland's overall economic performance has grown to the top 10 states in the United States of America from 49. Right after I was sworn in, 5 minutes later, I walked up to my office for the very first time, and I killed over 100 job-killing regulations that the previous administration was trying to push through in the closing hours of their administration. And we've killed another 100 since then, and we're going to cut a couple of hundred more. So we're just getting started. The very next day, after a really good inaugural ball party that lasted until the wee hours in the morning, where I shook hands with, I think, 14,000 people, the very next morning, we submitted the very first balanced budget in more than a decade, which eliminated nearly all of the $5.1 billion structural deficit which we inherited. And we did it without raising taxes. In fact, we've now completed 3 budgets in a row with no new taxes in Maryland. In fact, believe it or not, we've actually cut taxes 3 years in a row, which is something previously, I think, unheard of and maybe even unthinkable in the state of Maryland. But we've cut taxes by more than $700 million, and again, we're just getting started. We eliminated or reduced 255 fees all across state government for $120 million. We cut tolls at every single facility in the entire state of Maryland by $270 million, the first time tolls have been cut in more than 50 years. We returned $200 million in personal income tax rebates to overtaxed Marylanders. It was the largest tax refund in the history of our state. And we put all of this money back into the pockets of hardworking Marylanders, back into small businesses all across the state, and back into our rapidly growing economy. When I ran for governor, I also promised that we were going to rebuild our state's transportation infrastructure. After 8 years of complete neglect and mismanagement, and after $1 billion had been siphoned, improperly siphoned, from the Transportation Trust Fund, we had crumbling roads and bridges and the worst traffic congestion in the nation. Again, we took immediate action, doing exactly what we promised to do. We're moving forward on nearly every single one of the top priority road projects in every single jurisdiction in the entire state of Maryland. We inherited 69 structurally deficient bridges, and we're fixing every single one of them. We just recently invested an additional $2 billion in new transportation projects. We now have a total of $8.6 billion in our consolidated transportation plan. Nearly 1,000 transportation projects are currently under construction all over the state. It is historic and unprecedented. And all of these efforts are helping us to experience tremendous growth in our state economy. The statistics are so good that they're almost hard to believe. but the facts are abundantly clear and indisputable. A recent study ranked Maryland as the 5th most innovative state in America. We are 3rd among all 50 states for entrepreneurial business growth. We're 3rd in the nation for research and development intensity, 2nd among all 50 states for concentration of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics employment, and 4th in the nation in the number of science and engineering degree holders. Maryland ranks 3rd among all states for the highest share of technology companies, and we are number 3 in the United States of America for the highest research and development spending per capita. We're proud that Maryland now has the 2nd lowest percentage of people living below the poverty rate in the nation, and that we have the highest median household income in the United States of America. Together with your help, we have created an exciting economic resurgence. Maryland truly is open for business. The U.S. News and World Report recently ranked the best states in the nation, compiling data in 68 different categories, from education to opportunity to transportation to the economy. And I'm proud to report that Maryland beat out 42 other states, and we are now ranked the 8th best state in the United States of America. That's quite a turnaround. Together, we've been able to bring real change to a state that desperately needed it. And now 3/4 of all Marylanders approve of the job that we have been doing, but we're just getting started. There's a lot more hard work that lies ahead so that we can continue making progress for Maryland. We recently enacted our More Jobs for Marylanders Act, which provides tax incentives for the creation of thousands more jobs in areas where we need them the most. And just a few weeks ago, at our first ever sold-out Maryland Business Summit, we launched a new and exciting comprehensive statewide economic development strategy called Excel Maryland, which will be focused on new collaborative strategies to further accelerate growth in some of the sectors where Maryland is already leading, including the life sciences and cybersecurity industries. We're doing everything we can to make Maryland more competitive with other states and to foster a more business-friendly and job-friendly climate in our state. As you know, I recently vetoed the legislature's ill-conceived, poorly written, complicated, and inflexible paid sick leave bill. Which, if allowed to go into law, could cost Maryland thousands of jobs and billions in economic output, with small businesses bearing the brunt of the burden. Instead of helping hardworking Marylanders, the legislature's bill instead simply places unnecessary and crippling hardships on employers, and particularly small businesses. Stopping reckless, job-killing proposals and protecting taxpayers and jobs is why I'm in this job. It's why I ran for governor. And this legislative bill was not a common sense measure. It was not any kind of a bipartisan compromise. It was simply very bad anti-business, anti-jobs public policy. And it would have been incredibly irresponsible for us to allow another law on the books that would unfairly penalize our state's job creators and the men and women whom they employ. Every single decision that I make as governor is put to a simple test. I ask, will this law or action make it easier for small businesses and families to stay in and succeed in Maryland? This bill clearly did not pass that test. and vetoing it was the right course of action for our state economy, our business community, and for our Maryland workers. But we will need everyone in this room to assist us in this fight in order to stop the legislature from overriding this common sense veto. We can't do it by ourselves. We simply cannot allow them to return us back to the failed economic policies of the past. Frankly, we can't continue to make the positive progress without your help. And I want to thank MBRG, along with each and every one of you here today, for being such an important part of Maryland's amazing economic resurgence. It's thanks to you that Maryland truly is open for business. Together, we've made a great deal of progress over the past 2 years, and we're not done yet. We're just getting started. And hey, look, if we can accomplish all of this over 2 years while dealing with partisanship, 2/3 of the legislature fighting against us on nearly everything, and while dealing with riots and battling aggressive and advanced cancer, just imagine how much progress we can make together over the next 6 years. I'd like to leave you with just one final thought. My 18-month battle with cancer taught me a little bit about the important things in life. And there's one thing in particular that I'd like to share with you today. I learned a pretty simple lesson that life is much too short and that we've all got to make the most out of every single day. And I truly believe that each and every one of us is given the opportunity to do something great each and every day. Over the past 2 years, together we have done many great things. And now we have the incredible opportunity to accomplish even more. And I just want to let you all know that I'm going to keep giving this job everything I've got every single day that I am given. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for granting me this incredible honor of serving as your governor. May God bless you all, and may God bless the great state of Maryland.
The governor does not like long applauses. He doesn't like that. Governor, thank you very much for your leadership. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And thanks for everything you're doing to help educate the population and all businesses and all politicians that pro-business means pro-jobs. We very much appreciate that. In your honor, and in honor of your good buddy, Jimmy Myrick, who passed 16 months ago, we've made a donation to an organization called Cheer for All. Jimmy was involved with, and you can see that on the screen there. It'll help them further their mission of getting these folks out doing this athletic competition.
Thank you
Again,
so
thank
much,
you.
Wayne. That's great.
See you, buddy. Thank you. Governor Hogan, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Please have a seat. So in addition to all the great things he does legislatively and in his executive capacity, he's also very good at appointing excellent people to important roles within the administration. It's my pleasure to introduce one of those, a man who was a lifelong entrepreneur and put his very well-earned retirement on hold for a few years to come help economic development in Maryland. Commerce Secretary Mike Gill.
Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate it.
He doesn't need a microphone.
Nor do I need caffeine. Actually, my wife often says, "You're the last person I know who needs caffeine." So I go easy on that. Thank you. Thank you for MBRG putting this together. I heard the governor say, County Executive Shue took all my remarks. Governor absolutely took all my remarks. But I'm looking over here, Dwayne, and I love the italicized letters under the big letters, holding legislators accountable for their business votes since 1985. We're not done yet, so keep working at it. And we'll get that to a really great place so that we'll have one less obstacle to deal with, to move the agenda forward. Let me just make a handful of, there's 3 or 4 things I just want to share with you, and then we'll keep rolling on. I do want to thank the Gov, even though he slipped out. I like to say he's the one who gave me the opportunity to be in this position. I've loved every minute of it, but I also got to thank my wife because she still had veto powers. And she said, let's do it. So here we are. We're in the middle of year 3 and we're rocking and rolling, and I really feel like things are in a different place. Couple thoughts. The governor said thank you. I love to start remarks by saying thank you. And the very first time I ever said that, Dwayne, to any group of people, they looked at me like, what is he thanking us for? And I said, your customers. You know, it took me at least a day from when I first came into this position to realize, as I was trying to think about, how do you do this thing? Like the Gov, I didn't spend one day in public service or elected office of any kind. All my life, a business person. So I come into this position, I'm thinking about the agenda, I'm thinking about the mission, I'm thinking about what's the role of economic development, commerce. And I said, you know what, it's really simple. There's 400,000 plus businesses in Maryland who file tax returns, they have a tax ID. I'm guessing they have articles of incorporation, all the other stuff you need to officially be a business. And I said, you know what? They're all customers. And if you think through in that sense, you're a customer, you're a customer, you're a customer. Then it's how can we help you? Just like in business, we say, how can we help you? You know, when we came into to this opportunity, the other thing that quickly became clear to me is, like in any organization, you got to create a culture. And I don't know what culture existed in, prior to the Hogan administration. Was it the culture that's here today? So the culture that we tried to create was a culture of yes. And I've met I think I've met every single person in this room somewhere in the last 2.5 years. Matter of fact, I said a while back that there's 6 million Marylanders, and I'm pretty sure that there's only about 150 that I haven't met. And somebody yells out, who are they? I said, they're on Smith Island. And then somebody else yelled out, well, you better get there quick because it's sinking. So I still haven't gotten to Smith Island. So anyone who's here from Smith Island, I promise I'll get down there soon. But that culture of yes really just says that when one of you might come up and say, hey, I need your help on a project, I just say yes. And you say, well, wait a minute, it might be one you can't handle. I said, maybe we can't, but we're going to try. And what I've learned about saying yes is that if you approach things in a positive manner, 8 out of 10 times, and I found this true, Ellen, 8 out of 10 times, we can get a resolution. We can get to a good place. The 9th one might take a little bit longer. The 10th one, I'll say, sorry, Chris, can't help you. But if you start from a position of yes, and you put all your energies into it, and you have a great team of people and fellow agencies, because that's the other thing. We have a commerce cabinet. There's 7 agencies. It's what you might think: housing, planning, environment, transportation, Governor's Office of Minority Affairs, the environment, commerce. We work together, no silos. So when we have opportunities, we're alongside of each other. We're not, okay, well, go talk to that department called environment, and go talk to that one called transportation, and go talk to that one about housing issues. We're there together. The whole idea, go faster, go faster, go faster. A couple more thoughts just to share with you. I've said a number of times, economic development is a team sport. You know, the very first group I ever spoke to was META, who was down at the Calvert House. I'd been in the job a week or two. Pretty sure I hadn't got my first paycheck yet. Matter of fact, I was in about my 3rd month, and my wife said to me one evening, "Honey, you get paid for this job, don't you?" I said, "I do, honey, I do." And I have 5 personal days. I have 14 sick days. I said, "There's some good benefits here." But when I spoke in front of this group at MEDA, and I looked out at this group, and I was walking up on the stage, and Pam Ruff, that a number of you know, I'm walking by a banner that looks like that. It says MEDA on it. And I leaned over to Pam and I said, "What's MEDA stand for?" So I was really getting into it. But as I looked out there, I saw 250 folks representing the 24 jurisdictions. And I thought, this is a team sport. I mean, we're commerce. We have regional reps. We have the finance programs. We got great leadership in the military and federal government affairs. We've got Cigna Pringle and the international team. We got a great team. Well, we're no better than the effectiveness of the 24 jurisdictions and the economic development team that you all have. So we work together. It's a team sport. And I say it's not badminton. It's one where you got to engage. You've got to get on the playing field and make things happen. So we haven't lost sight of that for a second. Last couple things. Started thinking about those 24 jurisdictions. Started thinking about the theme of One Maryland. One Maryland. Started thinking about more jobs for Marylander, the bill that the governor referred to, that we're going to make a lot of great progress with. And you know what? We have 24 jurisdictions, and they're not all alike. And it's not good enough for Steve's team in Anne Arundel County to knock the cover off the ball, and for Alan's team in Howard County. Where's Alan's? Alan still? Alan's team in Howard County, and Alan McCarthy, and they're doing a fantastic job up in Cecil County. That's all great, terrific. But how about Somerset? How about Caroline? How about Allegheny? How about Washington? How about St. Mary's? How about Dorchester, Wacomico? Everybody's got to play. And I started thinking about the fact that we have 25-man rosters in baseball. Think about it. And a number of you, most of you who are Oriole fans, you can tell me who the 5 or 6 stars are. And then all of a sudden it gets fuzzy, doesn't it? But you know, you can't play in the World Series in October if you don't have 25 players that all are playing to their potential. Think about it. Maybe some of our larger counties aren't playing to their potential. And Somerset and Caroline are doing the best they can do. That's the kind of players I like. The ones who are playing to their potential. So when I think of One Maryland, I think of 24 jurisdictions playing to whatever their God-given potential is. And that's really how you become great and win championships. Last thing, we're always trying to figure out how do we take it up one more notch in commerce that can reflect upon everything we're trying to do. You know, so an expression that we use a lot, think bigger, go faster. Think bigger, go faster. And a goal that I had from the beginning, that we had from the beginning, is that, you know, one day we'll all go somewhere and there'll be all these economic development folks gathered and a whole bunch of governors, and they say, "What happened in Maryland? They're number 1." But again, thank you for having me. It's great to work for Governor Hogan, and you can start the chant anytime. 6 more years, 6 more years. See ya.